Hello, welcome to the War Room Podcast. I'm Alvin Gutierrez, I'm a pastor, and I'm your host for this podcast. If you Google the term War Room, you will find that the said term is derived from the military efforts during the World War I and World War II, and it was first used in 1901. This was a room used by the military to meet, collaborate, and plan war strategies. The room was often located at military headquarters where the military leaders and strategies would meet to discuss strategies on how to win the war. Maps showing the current status of troops are all over this room. It is also the single point where all responsible people are present to make decisions on troops' movement, identify enemy location, and finalize seamless efforts to counter the enemy. Today, most of the modern industries adopted this concept. In business, war rooms are spaces where key people get together to solve a difficult problem. It is equipped with sophisticated equipment and technology instead of the rundown maps and outdated devices. All responsible agencies are present to discuss the issues and combine the ideas and plans in order to successfully overcome the enemy. It is where seeds of a good project are sown, and it is often the place where key leaders and managers spend most of their time during the project. Logically, the bigger the issue, the harder it is to manage all of its aspects. It is important to have effective conversations, extensive discussions, in order to find the best strategy and plan it efficiently. The war room acts as an essential spot where ideas are carefully gathered, processed thoroughly, and produce fresh and innovative concepts to arrive at a flawless strategy. Leaders and managers devote a huge portion of their time in the war room, studying all the facts presented, analyzing the possible ways to resolve the issue, and strategizing a foolproof action plan. Well, that's essentially how this podcast will work. As a leadership podcast, it aims to delve into many insightful but candid, thought provoking but fun, innovative but timeless discussions with various personalities, global shapers, and leaders, famous or not. Well, mostly not. Coming from different fields, reckoning their stories of struggle, failure, success, victory, and everything about leadership and relationships. This podcast is an attempt to redefine quality leadership, rediscover new leadership strategies, revolutionize existing leadership structures and schemes, and recalibrating leadership attitudes and proficiencies. All this through journeying with different leaders and executives as they share their experiences, recommendations, and reflections, helping other leaders to love deeper, live stronger, and lead better. Aside from leadership, this podcast will also discuss about relationships. Relationships in various forms, capacity, shape, color, and state that affect the way we live our lives and lead others. Relationships are the very foundation of every leadership. As leaders, relationships play an important role in the way we set our plans, strategize our next ventures, execute our vision, and achieve our goals. Our early influence and model of leadership primarily stems from our family. Whether we like it or not, our parents have immensely contributed to the way we view our leaders and the style of leadership that we prefer. Say, for example, if we have parents who are strict and disciplinarian, we have a tendency to either be subservient to authorities or be rebels in constant protest. If we have parents who are lenient and liberated, we have the proclivity to either be legalistic and judgmental or be spontaneous and unrestrained party animal. Yes, the government is just a reflection of the family. There is corruption, partisanship, bigotry, bickering, and mudslinging the government because there is favoritism, miscommunication, division, intolerance, and infidelity in the family. That's why it is important to look into the kind and quality of relationships that we have as it affects us in many ways and also the society as a whole. The way a leader treats his spouse reflects how he values commitment. The dynamics of his relationship with his children reveals how he esteems responsibility. The manner he handles his relationships with his friends and colleagues exhibit how he respects duty and loyalty. The essence of leadership is relationship. influencing people to achieve things together that can't be achieved alone. When we value our relationships, our leadership becomes stronger and better. It is clear to us that we are to love people and use the resources that we have and not the other way around. As the former White House Communications Director David Gurgen puts it, at the heart of leadership is the leader's relationship with his followers. People will entrust their hopes and dreams to another person only if they think that the other is a reliable vessel. Being a leader is both a duty and a privilege. And as such, one should be able to make an honest assessment of the kind and quality of his relationships in order to improve and develop his leadership capacity. In sum, a leader is only as effective as the kind of relationships to which he invests himself. We cannot lead others if we don't have healthy, growing, and loving relationships. As quipped by a famous Canadian writer and speaker, Robin Sharma, the deeper your relationship with others, the more effective will be your leadership. People will not follow you if they do not trust you. And before someone will lend you a hand, you must first touch their heart. Understanding the impacts of relationships to leadership will cause you to build more bridges rather than walls. Relationships bring inspiration and hope which lasts a lifetime. I hope that through this podcast, leaders will be challenged to step up and nurture the relationships that they have so that they could lead effectively, serve efficiently, and love others deeply. This podcast aims to capitalize the value of health and wellness. A weak body produces nothing. A weak mind is the perfect ingredient for disaster. In this day and age where things are done in the most expeditious way, many leaders often neglect the importance of taking care of their health. We all know that there's nothing wrong about working hard and going the extra mile, but not at the expense of abusing one's health. Great leaders put premium on keeping a healthy mind and body because, as the old adage puts it, you cannot give what you don't have. A healthy leader will inspire others to grow, to innovate, to think out of the box, and eventually to be better. While a sickly leader will put his people to ruin, cynicism, complacency, and eventually to destruction. This pandemic crisis taught us many things, one of which is the value of our health, whether it be physical, emotional, mental, psychological, or spiritual. The pandemic challenged the way we think and view things and made us realize as to what really matters. Wise leaders are able to identify key factors to change and develop, which help them adapt to the new normal. A holistic approach to health contributed greatly to explore uncharted grounds and push the boundaries beyond its limits. A healthy leader is someone who understands the importance of and values his overall well being and that of his team. The more a leader values his health, the better he can lead and serve his people. No amount of stress or virus can hamper a healthy and well determined leader. When a leader puts premium on his health, he can achieve his goals in a timely manner, and his potential is endless and unimaginable. Throughout our history, there are so many exceptional leaders with great ideas and talents who died early before they could see the fruits of their labor. We should learn from them and do something to avoid it from happening to us. With a clear perspective matched with discipline, we will be able to achieve great things in this life. As the feminist and civil rights leader Audre Lorde said, self care is not self indulgence, it is self preservation. If we don't pay attention to our health, it will charge us with an exorbitant price that will deter our purpose, and worst, we'll never be able to help others and lead them excellently. Truth be told, every time we abuse our body, we deprive ourselves of the best life that we're supposed to have. Self care done appropriately and judiciously can help us become efficient and effective. When the mind is healthy and strong, our actions become clever and accurate. With conversations about fitness, exercise routines, sports, and other health and wellness related topics. Bits and pieces of lessons and realizations will be imparted by the guest, and I'm sure it's going to be very exhilarating and action packed chat. I'm very excited to hear interesting insights and tips on health and sports. And so I encourage you to sit back and join our discussions as we explore the vast collection of leadership lessons and experiences. The challenge is not just to be a good leader, but to live stronger so we can lead and serve better. When you are strong, then you can do more than you can ever imagine. Leading better means living stronger. Finally, as leaders, the goal is not only to be equipped with so much information on leadership strategies, but that one will be able to process and relate them into his context and improve the way he leads. As discussed, various issue, topics, concepts, and ideas worth discovering or exploring. I hope that you will be able to ponder on how to improve yourself, develop your leadership style and strategies, and become a better person and leader. When a leader has too much information, it constipates his ability to process it and makes everything useful and helpful out of it. It paralyzes his creativity and makes him more like a machine rather than a human. When we learn to relate and process a certain topic or information, we can find ways on how we can transform the way we think and do things. To reach that point, we need to learn to ask the right questions. What do I need to know? Why do I need to know? How it can affect me and those people around me? And other important and interesting questions that would enable us to unearth more lessons and realizations. When that happens, we pull the information closer to our hearts rather than allowing it to stagnate in our heads. The information becomes alive and personal. We become more involved rather than just be mere bystanders. We stop criticizing others and start assessing ourselves. We move the lens of scrutiny from others to us. We remove the rose stained glass from our eyes and at our situation with our bare eyes. Things become simple. Perspective becomes clear. Then the discussion evolves into a transformative experience rather than just an informative discourse. Leading better means more introspection rather than cross examination. To lead better, one should learn to step back, reflect, and adjust accordingly. A great portion of our life strategies happens when we carelessly rush into reacting after hearing or learning something. It's like a knee jerk reaction that our mouths run faster than our minds, and then that we find ourselves crashing into trouble. As the Bible says, when words are many, transgression is not lacking. But whoever restrains his lips is prudent. Unfortunately, many leaders keep that part wherein you just have to sit, stare into space, sift through, and internalize. When we recklessly jump into conclusion and decide whimsically, we gamble the welfare and the interests of our people. Leadership is not about having a position of authority, but it is all about serving other people with the best that we can, and that is only possible when we become brutally honest with ourselves about the things that we need to change and improve before making decisions. I believe that this generation lacks deep and careful reflection on many important things and issues. Many easily jump into conclusion and discard the value of contemplation, thus the spell of the know-it-alls. I know that nobody is perfect. Being a leader is not a walk in the park. That's one of the ugly realities about leadership. To quote the famous author John Maxwell, a leader is the one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. This podcast does not promise you anything, but I hope to at least give you enough breathing space to meditate, reflect, and find ways to relate whatever you have heard or learned to your context and lead better. Thank you for listening, and we hope to see you in our next episode. If you like this podcast, please click the follow button and hit the bell button to get updates on our new episodes. And if you are a brand and you wish to partner with us, please send us an email at thewarroomdesk@gmail.com. Again, that's thewarroomdesk@gmail.com. Always remember, love deeper, live stronger, lead better. See you next time in the War Room.